Hello and welcome back to Halifax Sports Talk. Andrew and Dayton with you to take a look at the latest news from the Halifax Mooseheads. And of course, we're always going to try and keep you guys up to date on the past and look ahead to the future on the upcoming game. Dayton, how are you?
Not too bad, Andrew. Not too bad. We both had something that was going on last night. It was a pretty good outcome. We won't get too much into that, but I'll quickly show the jersey. There we
I
go.
love it. I
That's all
love
I
it.
need to
Hey,
say.
good time to be a pro fan with our Habs playing the way they are, but also a good time to be a junior fan with the Halifax Mooseheads and how they're performing right now. Dayton, before we jump into kind of a recap of some games recently and we look ahead to their next game, I will say that this team, even when dropping games, is still finding a way to look impressive. This Halifax Mooseheads team looks well coached, well prepared right now, and you ask for depth going into some next couple of games. We're starting to see a couple more names trickle onto the score sheets, which is really good for this team. But right now, even in games they're dropping, they're staying very, very close, very tight, and they look like a very well prepared team.
Yeah, you said a couple of more depth guys have been getting onto the score sheet. What better way to kind of start the game? We'll go back to the Rimouski Oceanic game last Thursday, where two 16-year-olds, Junior Gualberto, got on the score sheet, and then Cam Manella. What a beautiful goal! He circled all the way around the offensive zone, came back out to the top of the circles, ripped one short side over. I believe it was William Lassell in net that game. Yeah, it was Lassell. What a goal from Manella, first of his Q career. So great for those two guys to get the monkeys off their back. And then Connor McPherson also had a first that night. It wasn't his first in the Q, but it was his first on a goaltender because, as you remember, his first goal did come on an empty net. So good for him to. And what a beauty of a goal it was, actually. He walked in, put the 5-hole or put it 5-hole on Lassell. So it was a pretty nice goal. 3 nice goals for some new guys on the roster this year. It's nice to see in Halifax.
It's really great to see it. It's awesome. And of course, we want to see this Mooseheads team be able to be involved in low scoring and high scoring games. But right now, the offensive production has been fantastic. And I know that it's still early in the season. We're going to test the waters every single week about how this can get maintained and sustained. But at the end of the day, going into the year, what did the coaching staff say? They want to possess the puck more. They want to create more. They want to be involved a little bit more. So I think it's probably no accident that we've seen some higher scoring games involving this team. And sometimes you have to sacrifice defense for offense. Sometimes, in order for you to score more goals, you got to give up a couple goals as well. This team, coming off 2 games, we'll talk about the next one here shortly, but both with a high scoring, feel to them, but necessarily doesn't necessarily mean they had a bad game defensively. It more so just means it was kind of a track meet feel to it, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's exactly what Brad McKenzie wants. He wants his team to kind of get on or on their horses early and get the game going and get some offense going, and that's exactly what they did in both games. And if I'm a fan in the QMJHL, I'll say this. Most people say the defensive structure isn't really here in the QMJHL. Well, I'd rather watch a 6-5 or a 5-4 game than a 2-1 or a 1-0 or a 3-2 game. You know what I mean? There's a little bit more
Yeah.
to get you off your seat. You're kind of in tune the whole game. And for the Mooseheads themselves, it's good to get themselves going. Although the defense hasn't really been their strong suit, they do have a really good core. And it's not, like you said, it's not to say they haven't had good games defensively. They've just been letting up the kind of the same amount of goals as the other team. A 5-4 game to Rimouski, a 5-4 game to Moncton. It's not like the goal differential is terrible.
Exactly. I mean, if you're going to give up goals, you got to be able to score them as well. And I know on this show, we're going to try and, keep it Q based, but we're going to relate a lot of stuff to the NHL because I'm sure a lot of Q fans are NHL fans as well. Well, how about the New York Rangers? 3 straight games for them at Madison Square Garden with nothing, zip, no goals. And, I'm not saying that, hey, it's easier to fix defense than offense, but you can make those adjustments defensively. If you're Coach McKenzie right now, you're saying, man, my offense is humming. Then we can start making some defensive adjustments and say, hey, guys, all right, let's bring it in a little bit. Let's be a little more careful. But if I'm the coach and I'm seeing my team's kind of a 5 spot right now, you've got different guys like putting up numbers here. I think it's really important to look at. And I think that when you look at these guys that are creating chances, although we have seen some main guys, it's good to see those other guys kind of trickle in throughout the games, and the schedule starts getting busier, especially when you start traveling a little bit. So it's really good to see. And I'm a big fan of tribute videos, and we saw some tribute videos in this game. And you talked about the matchup here against Rimouski. Did you get a chance to see it? I mean, what are your thoughts on the Mooseheads? How they always do it? They're such a classy team with that.
They are. They're such a classy team. They're also such a high production value team. So you always know that whatever video is about to come up on the scoreboard is about to be a good video. It's highly produced. And Jack Martin, Lou Levesque, two players that were there for a couple of seasons respectively with the Mooseheads. So two players that were well respected by the fans. They definitely played some good hockey while they were here, and they got respected for it with the great video tribute from the Mooseheads. So hats off.
Good to see with that, and they always take care of former players, which is always nice to see. But hey, former players become enemies if you're on different teams now. And 5-4 Halifax win. Well, they go from a 5-4 win, Dayton, to the opposite, a 5-4 loss against their new rivals. What do we think about that game overall?
Yeah, you say a 5-4 loss, but to me, if I'm Brad McKenzie, I'm walking into that dressing room with a smile on my face. You're going up against the former Q champs, a team that is obviously bigger and stronger than you. They've got some guys on the back end that are pretty solid, and they know how to score. They opened the scoring early into this one. Mercier got it. He's had a heck of a season, and he has to have a heck of a season with his draft year coming up. So it's going to be good to see where he goes. But for the Mooseheads, they never backed down. They were down 2-0 early. They came back and tied it. They went down 3-2. They came back and tied it. So every time they went down in that game, they were able to bounce back and kind of even things right out. Even when they went down too late, the guy that we've been kind of waiting for all season long, Liam Kilfoyle, finally lit the fire in him, put the puck in the back of the net. Although it wasn't the tying goal, it was still good to see. And I think Brad McKenzie should have nothing but smiles on his face after this game, or after that game, going into this game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that game again, like I said, off the top of the show. I mean, you lose a game, and you're right there the whole entire time. Not like they can really say they came out flat by any means. So good to see. And just looking at some of the stuff you have here for us in the show rundown, the fact that they were able to battle back, as you mentioned, it's just really impressive to see. And I was happy to see Danny Walters, because it's one thing to be a guy that's scoring goals in games you're up in, but it's good to be that guy that can bring you back and tie the game up as well. But at Kilfoyle, I mean, we were just, it wasn't even if, it was just when it was going to happen. I think we knew it was going to happen from him. We knew he was going to get going and find his offensive touch, and he has. And I talked to you backstage, and I'm going to tell the audience, and I want to ask everybody that's watching this, do you guys think the Halifax Mooseheads are overachieving, or are they even underachieving? Because maybe this team is capable, more than capable than what people thought they were going to be going into the season. Because right now this team is playing well, and it doesn't even really feel like they've scratched the surface to what their potential really is. So I asked you, we'll see what the audience has to say, guys. Comment below on YouTube. Let us know on X or TikTok, wherever you're watching, because we're curious. I mean, this Mooseheads team's off to a real good start right now.
Definitely. They're 5-3, tied for, what is it, fourth, I believe, third in the East, behind Charlottetown and Chicoutimi. Charlottetown actually having a heck of a season. I believe I said they weren't going to be a team to look out for, but wow, was I wrong. But the Mooseheads coming into this game in third, they're not having a bad season. They're not having an outstanding season. They're not top in the league or anything. But what I mentioned to you before is that they have room to grow and room to get even better. And they only have one 20-year-old spot out of 3 so far on the roster. If they want to make moves and maybe make a run for it, an early run for it this season, I think most people expect them to make a run in the next season or two. But if they want to make an early run, grab a couple of veteran 20-year-olds to throw into your roster, then you might be overachieving then. Who knows?
We'll see. Yeah, exactly. That's all about, going to pick up a couple guys, and all of a sudden this team looks a hell of a lot different, but you keep moving forward, and they're already looking pretty good. All right, from looking back to looking forwards, looking at the past couple games, 5-4 win, 5-4 loss. You don't even call it a loss. I love your way of looking at it. How about this game? Halifax hosting Victoriaville. We look at a game against the Moncton Wildcats, a rival, the defending champions. Now Victoriaville, there's certain games that players get up for more than others. Who knows if anybody has attachments or any type of rivalry in this matchup. So as much as people say it doesn't happen, I do think there's certain motivational levels for certain matchups than others. The other conference games, you don't know the players as well. You don't know the coaching tactics as well. But these are the games that separate you. These are the points that you really want to get here, Dayton, I think.
Yeah. You said if you don't know, you said you don't know if anybody's got anything attached in this game. I know somebody that's got some attachments from last season. It's the Victoriaville Tigres captain, Simon Pierre Brunet. He played on the Drummondville Voltigeurs team that eventually lost in 7 games to Halifax last season. So coming into this one, he might have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, if you know what I mean. Might want to get some revenge on a young Mooseheads team that knocked his Q favorites out of the playoff last year. So, yeah, I'm looking at Simon Pierre Brunet, the 6'2 defenseman on the back end for Victoriaville, to come in and kind of cause some pain or trouble down in the corners to the Halifax forwards.
Yeah, players don't forget about that stuff. They certainly do not. The Mooseheads got off to a good road start, and it was a reasonable start to their season. And then we talked about it a couple shows ago about this big homestand that they're on. So, going into this game, how are you feeling about this matchup for them? As far as Victoriaville, I mean, you talked about it to me before about how this team's not going to really shock you. They're going to win games they should, lose games that they should as well. But do you feel the Halifax Mooseheads have the greater momentum right now, even after a loss against Moncton?
Especially after that loss against Moncton. I think that loss against Moncton would fuel the guys to want to get it done in regulation, want to get a win back under their belt. That was a 3 straight win or win streak for the Mooseheads before they took that eventual loss to the Wildcats. But if they can get past the Victoriaville Tigre here tonight and then kind of look forward to Newfoundland, they've got 2 straight games on the Friday and Saturday against the Newfoundland Regiment. They come to town. I think that'll be the bigger test, and this is kind of a warm-up for the big boys.
And hey, great goaltender they're facing, but with how smoking hot this offense has been right now for the Mooseheads, maybe they can cool him off a little bit.
Definitely, yeah. Gabriel Daigle, he was a 3rd-round pick from Pittsburgh a couple of years ago, but I do think that he has some beatable spots. He's got some weaknesses. He's not as short as he used to be. He has grown to 6'4", so the Mooseheads are going to have to find ways to put the puck past him. And I think if they do that, they'll be just fine in this one, to be honest.
All right. Well, this Mooseheads team stays hot. Their offense is producing. All kinds of guys are finding their names on the stat sheet, and they're doing exactly what Coach McKenzie wants them doing, and that's holding the puck, having possession, and creating all kinds of chances. Watch out, guys, on our YouTube page for post-game shows as well. Eventually, we're going to have some live shows because we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you guys think about this year's Halifax Mooseheads team, and hopefully we'll get some guests on very soon for you. So, Dayton, before we sign off, any last words about this Moose team?
One thing, it kind of worries me. The Newfoundland Regiment used to be the Acadie Bathurst T-Town. Looking ahead to that 2-game series, I also look back to 2 years ago. After the Mooseheads went to the final, they played Bathurst the next year, and they did get swept 4 straight games. Although it's a new team, I know there's going to be a couple of guys on this Mooseheads roster that would like to get some revenge there. So some revenge coming either way in the next couple games for the Mooseheads.
And I know that these guys are aware, and a lot of these players that are, of course, playing for Newfoundland have been to Halifax before. And let's not say that the Mary Brown Center arena is not a big arena by any means, but I'm curious how strong towards the end of the season that home ice advantage is going to be for Newfoundland. It kind of reminds me when Vegas came into the league in the NHL. Man, that home ice advantage was strong. And, we'll see what it ends up being like for them when they travel because, well, people keep talking about the travel teams are going to have to do to them. but it's also them having to go to other people as well. So sure, they're flying and they're not driving everywhere all the time, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, there's probably going to be an advantage. I'm very curious to see towards the end of the season, home and road splits for this regiment team, because it sets up kind of nicely for them at home. Sleep in your own bed, know your own systems, know your own spots. But when you're on the road, you're not just, going up the road to Moncton for a quick little bus ride here. You're taking quite a big trip no matter where you're going.
It's going to be interesting come playoff time to see how they perform in the playoffs and down the stretch to see if they really want that home ice advantage come postseason.
That'll be huge for them. We'll follow that all season long right here on Halifax Sports Talk, guys. Make sure you're subscribing, hit that bell, get notified every single time we post a video. But I'm Andrew McGinnis, Dayton Camo with me every single week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.